hold up. Hold up, stop what you're doing right now because apparently the Switch 2 has been leaked. Allegedly, maybe, possibly. There's been some leaks that have come out of China showing a potential Switch 2 design. So let's take a look at them, why don't we? Alright, here we are with all of the leaked images, and let's start off with this one. Also, Nintendo, please don't strike down this video, thank you. So here's a 3D model, or like a CAD model of the overall design put together, you know, tablet and Joy-Cons. First thing I noticed is that the system's a little more rounded, the bezels are pretty slim like the Switch OLED. It's got like a Surface Pro 9 look to it, where it looks a bit more thinner while also being more rounded and softer looking. One thing I'm noticing is that there's an extra button below the home button, which we'll take a closer look at later. I have got absolutely no idea what that's even for. Alright, let's just go through all the images left to right. So here we have a Joy-Con, and you can see this rail here looks a lot more bulky. Might not even be a rail, apparently, from what we will see later on. Some of you guys might be wondering what this is. I personally think this might be the Joy-Con release button. It looks a lot more heavy duty than the small little circular button we had on the Switch 1. This to me looks like a lot more of a heavy duty Joy-Con release button, maybe like an easier way to release it. I actually think that's kind of cool. It could potentially be an extra trigger for controls, but I highly doubt it. I think it's the Joy-Con release button. It's a lot bigger now. And we'll see why, because the whole system, Joy-Con attachment system, looks a lot more robust on the Switch 2, according to these leaks. So here's the system on the bottom. You can see here, you know, again, it's got that Surface Pro 9 look where it's rounded and a lot more thinner. You can see the speakers on the bottom here. This photo is very interesting. The Switch 2, if this is real, it is huge. Like, that is significantly bigger than the original Switch, which is on the bottom. That is nuts. Okay, so this is an actually really interesting photo here. So this might be an actual real photo of the shell of the new Joy-Cons. You're missing all your buttons, of course, and all the Joy-Con release things, but if we look at this, what's this? I think this is how the Joy-Cons will attach. You can see here that you've got these like pins, and that's likely where the connector for the Joy-Cons are going to go in. These might be guiding holes or syncing buttons, who even knows. You got SL, SR like the previous system. They look a lot more thicker and 3D, like a lot better to press than the current ones are. The current ones on the Joy-Cons are a bit miserable to play with. I've heard some rumors that the Joy-Cons might be held in by magnets, which, you know, might help with this theory with the pins here and if these were locking guides or something. So that could potentially be how they connect through magnets. I've heard some reports about that. If they slide on, again, this could be how they connect, but it seems like a lot more of a heavy-duty rail Nintendo's going with this time, which, if that makes the system feel more robust, that's actually kind of cool. I do like that. Alright, next up we have the back of the system, and thank God Nintendo's not going with that original Switch Kickstand design. That original Switch Kickstand was absolutely horrible, and this Surface Pro like Kickstand is just better in every single way. Thank you, Nintendo, for not going back to the crappy stand that we had on the Switch 1. Okay, this is an interesting photo too. So here we have some Joy-Con shells, plus the shell for the actual Switch body, the tablet itself, plus a bare PCB as well. I really like this photo. This shows us quite a bit. The Joy-Con as well looks very interesting. You can see this part that sticks out, and you can see this bit that goes in. This really indicates that this entire thing will sit inside the Switch tablet, and that should make things feel a lot more stable. And also, you'll notice the player indicator things are here instead of on the inside. So you'll be able to see if you play a 1, 2, 3, or 4, just by looking at the front of the controller, which is quite interesting. I wonder what the ergonomics of this would be like. I mean, you are only holding that side, so it shouldn't be too bad, but these parts here look like they could be magnets of some kind, going with the magnet theory a little bit. I think Joy-Cons attached with magnets could be really interesting. Here, we see that extra button below the home button. What is that button for? I've actually got no idea. This is obviously where the battery goes for the Switch 2. Oh, okay, I think we're looking at the top here, because if we look on the bottom here, is that a path for a USB-C port, and these are speakers? Is that the game card slot? This could be the fan. Apparently, there's also rumors that it has a second USB-C port on the top, which would be very unlike Nintendo, but would also be kind of cool. Here's a photo of the right Joy-Con here. Well, not a photo, but a render. Look at that button. Look at that extra button. C. It's a C button. What is the C button for? I've no clue, and I couldn't tell you. These SL, SR buttons look so much better to press, can I just say. They stick out a lot further. They look like big improvements, or at least, they're not like big improvements, but at least some kind of improvement. And here we can see the back comparison between the original Switch and the new Switch. And look at this, look at this. You can see this part that goes in, so the Joy-Cons will slot into here, and see this? That is how they'll actually attach, like that's how they'll get their data and that's how they'll charge. So it seems like you're gonna snap the Joy-Con into the side of the tablet like this. So I think magnetic Joy-Cons might be what's happening, because I don't see any rails. That's closed off, that's closed off. Because you see here, that top bit's opened up so you can slide them in. I think we're getting magnetic Joy-Cons this time around. Again, here's the left Joy-Con. I believe we looked at this earlier. Okay, here's the top of the system. So you have your power button, you have your volume rocker, you have your game card slot, your headphone jack, and your second USB-C port? What the hell? I mean, I think it's honestly cool because you can plug this in and charge your system while it's standing up. Plus, you've also got the plug on the bottom for your dock. I think it's a really smart move. It's just very, very unlike Nintendo to do something like this, but Nintendo has surprised us before. And look at the roundedness of the L button there. I think we're definitely getting a lot more roundedness going on here. We also have some specs. I'll put them on the screen right now. The biggest thing that jumps out to me is 12 gigabytes of RAM. That's actually not too bad. I genuinely thought Nintendo would go for something like 8. You know, knowing Nintendo not really putting power in their systems. 16 gigs of RAM would definitely be the sweet spot, but hey, Nintendo's Nintendo and they're not going to put too much power in it. But with Nvidia making the chip, surely they'll use DLSS to upscale games. If they're not going to use DLSS to upscale games, then they're pretty much just wasting a perfectly good opportunity. I think having a more powerful Switch with DLSS technology will actually let it compete pretty damn well with the modern consoles. We'll have to wait and see on how that goes. Honestly, if these are real, this looks like a pretty damn good upgrade, especially with the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons look very interesting how they magnetically snap into the side. That's what I believe at least. I wonder how this will feel putting your finger here to press these buttons when you're holding the Joy-Cons sideways. Also, still no D-pad. Nintendo's clearly not abandoning that idea. I kind of wish we got a Joy-Con with a D-pad officially. I would much prefer that, to be honest, because quite frankly, playing these things sideways is just kind of a miserable experience. Although they look larger, they look thicker, they look like they might be better to play with. But Nintendo will clearly have some magnetic accessory they just slap on, which will finish it off like on the original Switch. Overall, very interesting system. I wonder if these are real and if Nintendo's going to go through with this. And that's it. Stop watching now.